every week that progresses with Rings of Power, I find myself continuing to ask whether or not I really like this show. I like it, right? Look, it's very pretty, and I want to see what happens with Sauron, but that, oh my god. I'm sorry. Okay, look, you can like something and admit when there are just egregious issues with the freaking writing. Like, I mean, dude, it feels like the entirety of Rings of Power is just a very long version of Game of Thrones Season 8. There's a lot to talk about, so I'm going to power through episode 6, because my number one issue with the characters in Rings of Power is how repetitively and annoyingly convenient everything is for everyone, and how shallow and low effort the writing is for this show. I started off saying, okay, Season 2 is better than Season 1. I mean, that's not saying much, but as it progresses, it's actually worse in some ways. So we start off in episode 6 with Arondir running pell-mell, because now everything's trying to, it's culminating. He comes upon 2 deserter orcs. They have left the battle, and they're talking shit about Adar. They're not down with Adar chasing Sauron because they think he's chasing a ghost.
I don't care what they call us. Anything's better than dying out Adar chase a ghost.
Were orcs ever really afraid to die? I know that you're allowed to take creative liberties with things, but goodness gracious, really? I've never heard orcs talk like this. I could be wrong though. But anyways, they don't want to die. I mean, they are pillaging and destroying along their way. That seems to be what they live for. They're orcs, or uruks, or whatever you want to call them. So the fact that they're going around and laying waste to elves and everything in their path, they shouldn't be complaining. I mean, what are we talking about here? But anyway, they don't want to die. That's their main thing, right? But then Arondir, he reveals his presence, and then one of the orcs is like, surprise, mother effer, I'm gonna slice you up. And then the other 2 who just said that they didn't want to die, right? I mean, you could interpret that to mean anything is better than dying to help Adar chase a ghost, so maybe they'd rather die doing something else. But you are doing maximum destruction and whatever you want, which is your nature, and you don't want that. Daddy Orc from the last episode basically let us know that there are some orcs that don't want to go to war and stuff, which is odd to me. But okay, you're walking away. You see this other orc attacking this elf, and what do? These 2 that don't want to die, do they stand up there and watch the elf and just be like, yep, we don't want no smoke, we're gonna leave? No. They're like, we're gonna corner you. Like, dude. And look at him all like, haha. You weren't really putting up much of a fight, but I won anyway. You'd think these 2 would leave, but they corner this guy or sneak up on him, but they're not even fighting. They just corner him, and instead of running away or like, I don't want anything to do with you, they just like, he's just standing there. For people who don't want to die, you really... Lord have mercy. So y'all died anyway. Good job. Anyways, dude takes out a piece of papel and he opens it and sees a map. Real talk though, how do people like, everything on this map looks the same. They're like some crab legs that look a little bigger than the other crab legs here. Is this a language? Like, I don't even understand what this map is supposed to be showing. There are no landmarks that stand out. Like, it just doesn't make any sense, but whatever. Anyways, back at Eregion, Celebrimbor is told by Myrmidania and the others that there's no more Mithril. The dwarves have been very tardy with their delivery. Why does elf guy's face back there so freaking expansive? Look at that shit. It's like double XL. Everybody else's his face is just like ultra widescreen high def. Like, damn. I like how Kel like always holds his chest out so that he looks like the lowercase letter D. Anyways, he's like, I'm not taking that for an answer. Go get them. What are you doing sitting here? Why is his hair short? He's not in battle. If you were gonna use it as an example, why is all the other dudes, their hair's long? He's an elf. Isn't that part of their culture? I mean, Celebrimbor's hair is short too, but why am I even asking these questions? It doesn't matter. I don't know.
What is your name again, Smith?
You mean you don't remember?
Of course I remember. Just give me a moment.
Lord Celebrimbor. Give me a moment, I said!
He's an angry elf.
Annatar has successfully convinced everyone that Celebrimbor is going nuts, and he is.
No, it's simple things, even. Earlier, I could have sworn I left my creasing hammer just here. And
you mean that hammer?
So clearly clearly Alteori is screwing with him. So we know that he's left his creasing hammer, right? He can't find it, but from Anatar's view, he knows where it is. I think it would have been a better shot if we didn't see the hammer right there, so that we, the audience, feel crazy alongside Celebrimbor. We get another shot, and the hammer's not there. So I don't know if this is just a continuity error or something, or they're just looking at it from the perspective of Anatar, but I feel like it's a screw up. Here's another shot where it's not there, but it was before. So why did they even bother showing it in the other shot? And why wouldn't you catch that in editing? See, I would believe if they were trying to be all masterful mentally, but being as there's such low effort that is being put into making the show and the writing, I can't even give them this credit, because I would more so believe 95% that this was a screw up on their part rather than purposefully trying to be enigmatic. Anyway, Anatar's like, you need to go and make things right, and he's like, well, I have to make sure the 9 are complete, when he was so against it, but yet he's also aware that Anatar is playing him, so which is it? Meanwhile, Anatar behind the scenes is like, yeah, the Lord is kind of cray-cray, so I'm gonna handle all administration stuff in his stead. He's not feeling very well. Nobody fact checks this. It's like dumbasses when they see a thumbnail on Twitter and they think that's the entire story without even going further and reading the actual article or content. I mean, these people have lived with their Lord for so long and nobody questions anything. Anyway, one of their elven soldiers has returned. He's all marked up and he's dead. And Anatar is like, show this to nobody, but this is at the front gate or wherever this is. People are walking by. People are gonna see. Do they not have eyes?
He's not himself, Adalia. For now, all we can do is leave him in solitude. Give him time and pray. Pray that he finishes this work before it finishes him. Can I trust you to make sure the others respect his wishes as well?
Okay, Daddy.
So she asks one last question before her boyfriend walks off, and she asks what the carving in the body said. Sauron replied by saying, where is he? Then we get a scene with Galadriel and Adar, where Adar's like, we have the same enemy. I can help you destroy Sauron. Then Adar reveals to her the crown that he used to stab Sauron with.
But I was there when Sauron refired it to fit himself. I was there when he kneeled to be crowned. And I was the one who used its power to slay him.
We were all watching the same episode, right? When Adar held the crown over Sauron. And Sauron was a dumbass knowing that this guy was on the side of the orcs and the orcs didn't like him and he allowed himself to be vulnerable. We were there when Adar turned the crown and instead of stabbing Sauron in the head, he stabbed him in the back. And we were there when we saw that Sauron was still very much alive and fighting his ass off before it was the orcs that subdued him after a while of him fighting them and killing a few of them and stabbing him to death. What a liar.
Not yet found you.
What part am I to play in this?
It is said the 3 elven rings saved your kind from fading. Is it true?
How does he know that? Who said that to him? I guess word travels really, really fast everywhere. He was watching the elves very closely. The way you think that news would travel that fast, you would think that Gil-galad, no sideburns guy, would know what's going on in the region with the forges and stuff. Maybe they're next door neighbors. I don't know. And does he send crows out to go watch? Like, how did he know that? It is said, who was saying that? Freaking Celebrimbor didn't even know if the rings worked or not. So how does he? Whatever.
But I know he hides in a region. And I suspect you know for certain. Halbrand is Sauron.
Oh my god. What the fuck? How? I'm sorry, I feel like I'm missing something. Did I miss where he came to this conclusion? Bro, you had him in your grasp and you let him go. So at some point after that, and what happened to the orcs that he sent after Sauron to follow him? Okay, I'm so confused right now, and I feel like the writers are too, because they seem to be leaving out whole portions of information in Rings of Power. I don't understand how bro burnt face over here, extra crispy Kentucky fried Adar, knows that Halbrand is Sauron. At what point did he come to this revelation relation who told him, how did he find out? I would have loved to have seen his face the moment he realized that he let Sauron go. He was right in front of him the whole time. He had him captured and he let him go. And then all of a sudden it's like, by the way, you had to nudge, Halbrand Sauron, am I right? Like, what in the world is this writing? This is why I'm trying so hard to hold on. I don't even know why I'm trying to hold on. You know when you're trying to like hold on with your fingertips and you're trying to simulate what it would be if you were hanging off a cliff only for you to lose your grip and your fingertips start getting numb and your body starts pulling you down and you're like, I can do this, and your body just fights you and you slip and you knew that if you're really hanging over a cliff in real life, you'd be dead. And that horrible feeling that you have, just wishing that that's never a situation that you're going to meet upon. Like, this is how I feel. I don't even know where I was going with that, but that's kind of the confusion. What in, how much money did they use to make this series? People on Wattpad write better cohesive stories than this. What are you doing? Did you not, were they lazy and they didn't want to put in those scenes, or they just didn't fill them and they're like, okay, we're just gonna keep this going and nobody's gonna ask any questions? We're all waiting for you to find this guy to find out. That would have been one of the payoffs. Did he find out the dog that killed the other guy was possessed and that's how he came to the conclusion? And then why didn't he say anything until this point?
Put aside your pride. I suggest you find the will to do so.
You're asking the wrong person. Then we cut back to the people in Numenor, and everyone's mad because this guy is not following the king. He broke the law or whatever, and he's like, yeah, but I don't accept you as the king. I'm guilty of that other thing, but I do not accept you as my lord. And his daughter's like, Daddy, I care about you, but you put him in the situation, sort of.
I do not. For Numenor's true ruler is now, and to the end of her days, Miriel, daughter of Tar-Palantir, and the only traitor here. Did he?
Okay, Ned Stark, if you say so. He's really giving Ned Stark. He is giving Ned Stark so much to the point where you have an opportunity to lay low and then plan. You cannot protect anyone or make any change if you just die. Like, what are you doing, bro? And also, I don't really like this guy either, but what did he do? He betrayed his cousin, but when the eagle thing came, wasn't that a sign that the gods chose him? And even his cousin Muriel is like, okay, he is the Lord now because it is what it is. Why is this guy so freaking angry? You're not even smashing my guy. Did she give up her walls? No, she didn't. He is like totally 1,100. I know that's not a real number, but over the top simpleton for this woman. And why also? What is it with these guards? He starts walking forward. He would have, if he had if this guy had broken out into a run, the king would have died. The guards in Rings of Power are so dumb. What is their point? Okay, so at least the two there are reacting and they're like, okay, we'll spear you. But most of them, let's be honest, they don't do jack. Remember how they let the prince get beat the hell up? And during that entire fight, none of the guards came to save him? That is funny. And also, nobody addresses, what did I tell you last time? Nobody addresses Moss from IT Crowd being killed. It's like he just ceased to exist. Literally. So anyway, the king's assistant's like, you know, we should let the Valar decide his fate. If the faithful wish to live by old traditions, let's give that to him, right? And there's a sea monster. Then in the next scene, freaking Dollar Tree Gandalf is like, oh no, Nori's in trouble. And then this guy is like...
Snoring? Who's snoring?
That's how little he's mentioned his friend since he's been here. Either that or Tom Dimbldood is a very dull and horrible character who doesn't care about the hobbitses. Sorry, Harfootses. Then he's like, dude, you gotta make a choice. You know, I can train you or whatever like that, but you gotta choose doing that or saving your friend. Can't choose both. It is what it is. Fuck them hobbitses. I mean, Harfootses. Nori's telling this woman to run away, and she's like, look, my history is here. She's telling her all those things, and this is the most human we've seen this woman. And actually, I do like that they show her being sad here. She actually does a really good job portraying this, being hurt. She doesn't want to run away from her home. She wants to be buried next to her husband. Meanwhile, these two are dating. I don't know what the point of this is unless they're gonna make old Featherbrain here become part of the group or somehow make Poppy be pregnant with fricking who knows what. Then they continue on with this stuff. Apparently they've been doing this relationship off screen. I'm so bored with these things, man. And we're now just stumbling upon them continuing the not joke that was supposed to be funny.
I mean to ask you, why is it exactly they call you Nobody?
My folks aren't the most decisive. Took me a long time to settle on a name.
Well, how long?
1 or 2 years.
Oh, it's not so long.
Oh, 1 or 2 years ago.
You dumb fucking fuck.
Their attempt at trying to be humorous is so nerve-splitting. It's making my fingers all feel numb. He knows damn well what she meant. Are they really the whatever, I can't...
Why are you looking at me like that?
I was thinking of asking, what if all of us maybe about to be murdered, no? If you want to...
We're talking. There, Mark.
Puppy.
Did you have lizard for supper?
Oh, God.
The humor in this scene, and in most of the scenes where they try to inject humor in Rings of Power, is so forced and awkward. It's like they don't trust the audience to understand what's funny. Like, oh, put a laugh track here, but it's missing, so without the laugh track, you don't laugh because you're aware now, oh, it's not funny. It's so randomly thrown in there too, like these two, what? It doesn't feel organic between these two. But oh no, because they're Harfoots and they look quirky, or they both look not societally above average, let's make them just be funny. Cause you know, she's the chubby friend and he's the doofus. Yay, clap, laugh, fart. And then, you know, if anyone said this to me, as stupid as Merrimack is, I would have been like, okay, no wonder you don't have any boyfriends, because you're fucking bizarre. We just kissed, and that's where you're going with this? Really? It doesn't even feel playful. It just feels like they were trying to make Poppy relatable or quirky, but she's trying so hard. And I hate when Marvel does this too, where they completely disconnect from the tone of the scene. We're all about to die. This is something that's supposed to be sad. This is a great opportunity for us to be a little more connected to the characters and feel bad for them. Like, this guy might die, right? But let's make a joke. He even said to her early on, you know, seeing as we're about to be murdered, and Poppy laughs. Why is that fucking funny? Oh, I remember, because death means nothing to these freaking things. She got sucked up by Satan's asshole tornado and got thrown onto a rocky terrain, and she was completely fine. So murdering, what's that? That they have freaking 600 lives, they'll be fine, right? But then in the earlier seasons, we're made to believe that, oh my god, if you have an injury and you're at the back of the caravan, you're definitely gonna die, because if you're slow, things are gonna eat you, or you're not gonna be able to survive on your own. So which is it? Are these things made out of fucking titanium, or are they susceptible to injury? In that case, she should be more concerned about the guy that she now likes being in danger because of them. Wow, fuck off. So Poppy's like, okay, he's important. Don't turn yourself in because, you know, the stranger is important. You know, I started to believe you because you said it enough, which means you're gullible. I don't even know. I don't even care about these characters, to be honest. I just feel like the show would have been fine without them. As a matter of fact, the show would have been fine without most elements in the show. Then we get a cut to Duder and his father and Anatar coming to see if there's Mithril. How long does it take for him to get from Eregion to Khazad-dûm? Because it feels like it only takes like an hour, maybe less. Do they live right next to each other? How far away are they? Maybe they showed us on the map at some point, but I don't remember, because time means nothing in the show. King Durin's like, screw yourselves, I'm not giving you any more Mithril. And Anatar's like, really? You said no to me? Okay, all right, I'm gonna light some fire under your ass. Remember that thing down there that you don't know anything about? I'm gonna wake it up, because I have the power to do that. I can control animals now, which if he had that ability, you'd think that he'd use it. Interesting. He used it on the dog, used it on the shark thing. He's using it on the Balrog, apparently. So why can't he just use it on all the fauna of Middle Earth? Furthermore, what has he touched? Okay, maybe it's just me. I'm being stupid. Trust me, I understand how this looks. I am freaking dumb. But my thing is, if he has the power to control animals and he hasn't even touched them, like the whale thing, unless he pissed in the water that time and the whale tasted it and that's how they connected to each other. But he's controlling the Balrog, right? He seems to be controlling the Balrog. The darkness is affecting the Balrog somehow. Then, why wouldn't he not be able to do that with other things all over Middle Earth? He was able to do that with the Barrow-wights. This is what I'm talking about with the eerie convenience. This dude is way more powerful now. Like, he can impact animals, but he doesn't use them to his benefit. Anyway, the only thing that King Doran is now is greedy, and he doesn't want to give them Mithril because other people are going to pay a lot of money for it. And Doran's like, have you gone mad? Why are you going to keep asking that question? It's very obvious that he has. Doran's like, take off the ring if it's not controlling you, Dad. Doran tries to, and the dad's like super powerful now. And he's like, bitch, get the fuck off me. What are you doing? So Disa with her wild eyes is like, okay, we're going to stop them from digging that mine because there's that thing down there. We're gonna put our bodies in front of the mine if we have to. Doran has just been neutered this season, but So has everybody else. He's crying because he's like, you want me to humiliate my dad and blah, blah, blah. I know he's still in there and I feel bad for him, but this is all we get of during this season. This is it. He just feels helpless. He's being picked on and being bullied and all that jazz. What's also confusing to me, though, is the dwarves were so quick to put their hands on Durin Jr. and talk shit about the king. But yet, these are the stubborn dwarves that will continue following the king even though they know that he's making all of them poor. Interesting. Anyway, the daughter comes in to see her dad. She's like, I don't want to lose you. Should have thought about that before. She asks him to swallow his pride, and he's like, if pride is all you think this is, there's no words left for us to speak. And then she says this, which is very confusing.
To speak.
The king said you'd say that.
How does he know that? Did the ball show him that? And if you're gonna make me believe that he's using the whatever that thing is called, the palantir, whatever, the ball, crystal ball thing, to know what people are gonna say, then what happens later on, he should have known that was gonna happen as well. So Muriel comes in, and this is when the daughter's realizing that they love each other. I guess the father didn't spend enough time with his daughter for him to catch on, or he just doesn't say anything. She's telling him, hey, you follow me, you trust me, do not lay down your life, bow to Fatterzon. And he's like, no, if it's my will that I be spared, I will be. I thought you cared about her, sir. You were willing to lay down your life to follow this woman that you clearly are in love with, I guess. And now that she's telling you not to do something, you're not doing it. Whatever. Unless he thought she was a goddess or part of his faith. And even still, if that's the case and he thought that she was somehow touched by the anointed, then that's more of a reason for him to listen to her. Then this part is so stupid. This is why I'm starting to get annoyed with this show. They come in, these dwarves, and Disa is here and she's like, oh, you're here. Oh, you're not gonna dig anymore. Oh, Mickey Mouse. So what's her plan?
The king. So please move. Otherwise, I've no choice but to see you moved. I'm sorry. Is that meant to frighten us off?
Jesus Christ, I swear to God, like, this is so freaking dumb. I don't know if the writers are smoking a huge tub of cocaine. I know that doesn't make any sense, but I really have to wonder, who is this? Are they outsourcing writers from all over the globe that know nothing about the script or each other in just little segments that they're individually given? Because this scene right here is one of the reasons why I have no respect for this show. Like, I'm really, like, why are we, oh my God. She can't talk to the mountain, her power is gone. But this happens, which is so freaking confusing to me on so many levels.
No. They are.
Oh my God! What is this? I'm sorry. What is this writing? What is this writing? Fucking A! These are dwarves. These are old man dwarves. They have been generations digging down the earth in the stone. Pretty sure this is not their first interaction with bats that are not even attacking them, by the way. Why are they running? You duck, maybe, okay. Why are you... Did you never see bats before? And why is Disa... What? Oh my God. What? Fuck, this is so bad. Oh my God, this was so bad. So Disa now can talk to bats, or she knew exactly where the bats were, so if she sung in a certain frequency, they'd fly over these guys and they would just all be afraid of the bat. Have we ever seen bats before? Have they ever given us any foreshadowing as to how dangerous these bats might be? And if she's not running, why are they running? She's not afraid of them clearly, but they are? Really? And they're the ones who are working in the mines? Oh, fuck off. I hate this show, swear to God. This is so bad. This is so bad it makes me angry.
I love you.
Oh, fuck off. So anyway, they hold this freaking ritual thing and he's like, I'm ready. The daughter's like, oh well. Then the beast comes from far away. And then Muriel's like, I will stand in his place because he was defying because of me. And he's like, oh shit, never saw that happening. Now all of a sudden you're upset. She's like, you believe in the faith, right? Let's do this then. And I like how the daughter's like, yep, she's right. That's part of it. If someone volunteers a tribute, that's part of it. Okay, let my dad go. She looks older than her father. How is this his daughter? I thought they were gonna plop them over the cliff, but they walk her down the stairs. She goes in that little pool and the beast comes and then she can't see and then she's like in the water. Can you imagine how frightening that is? You're floating and then you can't even see. But she can probably like, no, you can't until she gets pulled under the water. So the thing is like, well, hello, roar. Wait, you can't see me? Oh shit, this isn't fun. You are all the way gone. The fuck happened to your eyes? Yeah, this isn't any fun. Nah, you're not all there. You probably have cancer in your head or something. And they did this just to show, look guys, this is where all our money went. Obviously, because it sure as shit when it's in the writing. Then they spit her out. Oh my God, look, the gods have chosen. So of course he's mad at the guy because he's like, you know, this is not what I thought would happen, which if this was a ritual where the gods decide whether or not somebody is innocent and people use this normally, it must mean that at some point, sometimes it works, right? That means there's a chance that the person could be innocent. There's a very small chance, but there is a chance. And that's what, instead of using something that's guaranteed, like a guillotine or something, you decide to, okay, whatever. So let me ask something, right? If it's a good omen and like maybe something about the gods that the eagle shows that somebody is chosen or is looked favorably upon, but then the god also chooses this person, which god is right? And what if it's the same god that chooses both? So then this guy's like, hail Queen Mariel, Queen of the Sea. What, did he not know that was going to happen? He uses the crystal ball and then sees, why does his hands look so crooked? Ew, look at that. And then he sees the power and something. Oh my God, it's Sauron. These two talk some more, it doesn't matter. So he's like, dude, do you really think I would challenge Sauron with just a single legion? Look at the army that I have. And now we're gonna get the big reveal of this badass army that Adar has amassed from God knows where.
Where's the rest?
Bruh. What? Okay. Bro, that's how many people are in a part of Central Park. What are we doing right now? Seriously, what are we doing? Why is she shot? There's nothing here. Are the rest in the trees? I mean, I thought this was gonna be a big reveal and that's what you're working with, bro? Really? That's what you're working with? This is embarrassing. This is so embarrassing. I don't mean just for Adar. It's embarrassing for the writers. For crying out loud, in the Battle of the Five Armies scene for The Hobbit, they look like that's more of an army. Look at how they're all condensed together and how much. And this is not even the full establishing shot. Look at this real quick. You have all this money, but you cannot show this. Look at the army behind you. You're not even seeing all of it, but look at this scene right here where you can see the massive formation of this freaking army. Look at this scene. That is an army. This is an army. First of all, the way that they changed formation was smooth as milk, man. That was great. Oh my God, that was hot. I love that. Yes. Look at this army. This is an army. This is an army. Do people not know what armies are? Look at the establishing shots of these fucking actual armies. Wow. And this is what you show us in the freaking darkness where we can hardly even make out what they are. This is what we're doing. Okay. Just so we're clear, right? The budget for this show, for the first season alone, was over 700 million. They're trying to tell us that the series is set in Tolkien's Second Age and has some of the most expensive television ever seen. Did it? Does it? Because I mean, I can't tell. Not with shots like these. This is the most expensive. Did they pocket most of the money and buy freaking yachts and seats on Mars? Like, that you cannot tell me that this is a movie, or sorry, a show that costs almost $1 billion. You cannot tell me this and make me believe that. Unless, of course, they laundered most of the money. I hope Galadriel is looking and like, you're fucking dead, guy. Like, what are you doing? You got the neighborhood watch. That's what your army is? So Gal is like, he wants you to attack it. Don't do this. And he's like, I'll make him choke on my dick. And she's like, no, I want to choke on his dick instead. Ew. Bruh. What's that character I used to have a crush on when I first saw that movie? The centipede from James the Giant Peach. Yeah, him. I used to have a crush on him, and like, I don't know why. Don't ask me why. It's not because he was a fucking centipede. It was the freaking character. You know what I mean? But now that there's like, I mean, the two are uncanny. You put a hat on her, it's like the same person. Yeah, I think I'm over that now. Yep. Daddy, I don't want to fight. I've got some family and a baby. I want to fuck my wife. Well, Sarah's gonna end up penetrating them sweet orky walls if we don't fight, bitch. I don't care. I want some fuck now. So now the horn is sounding. They're all like, oh, we're gonna push these big ass things that move very slowly. Did they teleport them from somewhere? I don't know. I don't remember seeing them push these things. But anyway, Anatar is like, yes, it's begun. He tries to stop Celebrimbor from going out, and he's like, all right, well, I guess I'm gonna have to just fool him into thinking it's daytime and everything's sweet and nice and he's in the Matrix. Somehow Anatar has Mithril, but it's not Mithril, is it? He's like, it's okay, everything's fine, just finish the rings with the hammer. And he looks at the hammer and sees all the jewels on it. Meanwhile, everything actually looks like this, and what's-his-face has no idea. And what I'm wondering to myself is, while Anatar is giving him this vision, people are running and screaming, no doubt probably bumping into Lord Celebrimbor. I mean, throughout most of the scene where this is taking place and Celebrimbor is in this world, there's also bombs. There's also like rocks and projectiles being thrown. He doesn't feel any of that. He doesn't hear any of that. Nothing hits him whatsoever. Eerie convenience. See what I mean with the trebuchets? They all hit Eregion. Oh, look, it has a wall. And that's where this part ends.
Were they smoking ass when they wrote this?
Episode 7 starts off with Celebrimbor realizing that one of the jewels on the hammer is missing. And he's like, oh no, where's that red jewel that was in there? The other one has it. He sees a mouse that's clearly a pet mouse. And but for a moment, he looks at his reflection and sees the real him until Anatar walks in the room. Is like, everything all good? And he's like, I look normal. So he says, I'm looking for a jewel. Fëanor's hammer is missing one of the... Oh no, this is not happening. What the hell? So apparently, Anatar does not have the full power and capability to uphold the illusion completely. Either that or on some level, Celebrimbor is fighting it. Celebrimbor has a lot of focus, and what's weird, again, is that all of this is happening, but where Celebrimbor is just happens to be just completely fine. And again, he's the administrator, and so he's letting everyone know that Celebrimbor is out of his mind and saying stuff like, we'll be fine, the river will protect us. They do all that so that Anatar is smarter than everybody else, who conveniently, because their characters are written so shallow, ask no questions whatsoever and just do what he says. And now here is the other convenient writing, because it has to be. He says, prepare for ground assault. And they're like, why? Why would we do that? You're crazy. Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? I'm sorry. So you mean to tell me... I'm so dead. Oh god, I'm so dead. I'm so dead. What is this writing? Bro, what in the world? Okay, nobody knew. The elves themselves didn't know that there was a barely lodged small rock holding up this bigger rock and other rocks that was gonna call a Jenga level of destruction upon their river. And so somehow Adar knows this. Did they have a bird fly up here and tell them? Did someone put this there a long time ago? Whatever, it doesn't matter. So yeah, one of the rocks, they just happened to aim and it hits this rock. And so this rock falls. I'm so dead, bro. I'm so dead. What is this? And it falls. And they're just all standing there and watching. And not only does this rock fall, but somehow it topples every other rock. And it does it in such a way that allows the right amount of rocks to fall in exactly the right place and be packed in exactly the right way so that the river can be dammed. And that just immediately fixes the problem. The river just stops all of a sudden for no reason. Water all of a sudden is so tight it can't get around. Guess the river wasn't that deep? I mean, apparently not. Right around this time, Celebrimbor notices that the mouse is doing the same thing it does every other few minutes or hours or whatever. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna put a line here and see if the candle actually melts. King Doran is like, I don't care if my son's down there and Disa's down there, go. So Disa, I don't know why she's standing like that, but obviously they come back. I don't know why it took them so long to come back. Why didn't they just wait in a crevice and wait for the bats to go by? Since they would have dealt with this at some point in time. Oh, it doesn't matter. Let's not think too much about it. And they're like, okay, we can all get you down there, but instead of doing that, whoopsie daisy. On second thought, we're gonna put down our hammers as we stand with you. And the other dwarves look confused. They're like, we didn't agree on this? What are you talking about, bro? Would have been nice if you told us the plan. They're all confused except for this guy in the front. We stand with you. Okay. You sure about that? Then this guy says, oh, by the way, there's an elf outside that wants to talk to you.
Elrond, my heart sings to see you, old friend.
You, tidal-haired, flowery-tongued flagpole.
Tidal-head?
You got some sand coming here. Have you any idea what I've gone through since you left?
Can hardly be more eventful than what's transpired with me.
I'm about to overthrow my father.
Elrond looks rough. So he asks for Doran's help for his axe to fight alongside them because of what's going on. By the way, no mention of the kids. Do Disa and Doran have kids? Don't know. It's like they just cease to exist. So all the orcs start coming across and the elves are, or what's left of them. Where is Eregion's army? Do they not have an army? They make it seem like they do, but they really don't. Because from what we see of this non-establishing shot, there's only these guys that are guarding the walls. Where is everyone else?
The rings. Are they finished? Wait for what? Captivating.
I love Sauron, man. This is so stupid. This whole thing is dumb. This show has just evolved into just... And I'm not saying it because Sauron is the only thing that I like about... Like, I'm actually rooting for him over the characters. I don't know why.
What have you done to me?
Done to you? You welcomed my instruction. You practically begged for it. Now a mouse scurries by and you fly to pieces. Listen to yourself.
No, what have you done to me?
Bro, you knew damn well what was happening. I mean, at first I feel bad for Celebrimbor. You know, I do feel bad for him. But on the other hand, it's like, dude, you were greedy. You allowed this. So he said, who are you truly? And so the jig is up and Sauron has to tell him who he is. So then he drops the illusion and it's revealed that Eregion is falling. And he's like, oh my God, why are you doing that? Oh, okay. You knew that though. You even admitted that it was a game that he plays, you know, and you knew. He admits that he knew deep down inside all along. Look at how this place looks, and now he's crying. Why are you crying? You knew. Turns out the mithril isn't really mithril. It's like Sauron's blood or something. By the way, true creation, check me out, requires sacrifice. Yep. My body fluids are in them rings. Soon as dude steps out and everyone's dying, he gets blasted, which makes me wonder how he didn't get blasted before. Nobody believes him when he's like, he's Sauron, he deceived us. She's like, you really are crazy. Then Antar comes and he's like, check, his blood is black. And they're like, what? He's been protecting us. And then he shows his red blood and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about, bro. This part's wicked though. You gotta give it to Sauron for this. I don't care about any of these characters, so when they die or stuff bad happens to them, I'm not like, oh my God, I hate Sauron. When you have written your character in such a way where a majority of us are rooting for the villain and when the good guys die, we laugh, that's where you know you've gone wrong.
Let's get you back where you belong.
Get your hands off me! No!
Well, that's it. So he says all this can end, and I guess nobody else can hear him. He said, finish the 9 and I'll spare your city. And so, see, now we see an actual army of the elves. Now, it does look like there's more orcs here than they showed at night, but when they did that revelation shot, it should have been a bigger shot than what we saw, you know, with all the money they're spending on this. So anyway, they charge forth, and the orcs are like, come at us, bro. And as Elrond is leading the charge against what you can see is a mass in shadow, they pull forward something and they're they're like, oh, they won't hurt one of their own. It's Galadriel. Surprise! What's behind door number 3? Elrond sees her and is like, I haven't clapped those cheeks yet, so wait, let's talk. So they have a parlay, and I like how the orcs are so well behaved in this case that they can do this. Did they ever do this in the movies? If they did, then that's stupid.
You are a courtier, more suited to wielding a scroll than a sword.
You've never seen me wield either.
You should have just kept charging Elrond.
If she speaks again, cut out her tongue.
I like how they all got weird because they were like, yeah, we know she's dumb enough to talk again, so we gotta be ready. So Elrond is like, dude, you're helping Sauron, by laying siege to Eregion. You do realize that, right? But Adar's like, it belongs to the Seaver now, as does every elf within its walls. It's lost already. Celebrimbor is the one who welcomed Sauron in the first place. And this is where they enter drama, because Elrond is like, a lot of orcs are gonna die, right? You love them, don't you? Are you prepared to spend their lives so freely? You won't have anyone else there to fondle your sack.
Spend their lives so freely, Adar. Are they?
The ring for Galadriel's life. What is it to be?
And of course, none of the orcs want to die all of a sudden, because why not? They always, their whole thing is charging in first and asking questions never. And now they're all like, I don't want to fight. Why are we fighting again? Even though they know that for some reason, even though Sauron had their best interest at heart too, that they think they're going to be enslaved as Sauron still lives. So they're fighting to prevent that so they can be free, but they're too stupid, whatever. Their motivation doesn't even make sense. So Elrond basically says, screw yourself, or screw your orcs, because that's what you've been doing anyway. He says, I want to say goodbye to her. We all know this is a ruse, but it's still weird. Like it just came out of nowhere, that whole thing. Did they do that for the 15 fans that wanted that or something?
I didn't see the romance there at all. It's an emotional goodbye to someone who is one of the most important people in his life. He truly believes she's gone. Adar, I think, says, I'll see you on the battlefield with her head on a pike, So,
which would be a much worse kiss.
Yeah.
The fuck is wrong with you?
Oh, but look at his hand. Oh, he gave her something. Either he put it in her mouth or he put it in her hand. And it's very clear that her hands were doing something and nobody was watching to make sure. See, real orcs would have killed these elves inside their walls. Durin gets everyone together to overthrow his father, while our friend here uses a lockpick that Elrond gave her to conveniently pick the lock. Nobody's watching her. All this while the elves and the orcs are fighting.
Father! The wall is stronger than we thought. We may not breach it before morning. The elf is faring better than you expected. His troops have already destroyed 5 of our trebuchets. Many Uruk are dying. What are your orders, Lord Father? Shall we sound the retreat?
No, Sauron must not escape. Bring down that wall, at any cost.
Adar!
Oh my god, this orc is getting on my nerves. The writers are getting on my nerves. He's a freaking coward. You want us to retreat now? You don't want us to battle? Even though I know Sauron's gonna enslave my wife and my children and all of my orc kind. But oh well, I'm scared. What do you want me to do? Like, dude, you guys are the ones that stabbed him up. Why are you all acting like this? Why are the orcs like this? It doesn't make any sense. They're trying to humanize the same race of things that love evil, that violate and devour the inner walls of human females and everything they come across, and enslave other people even when they're not being asked to do so. And we're supposed to somehow now be relatable to them. Since this is basically a fan fiction, you know what would have been a better fan fiction? If the orc had fallen in love with an elf female. That would have made more sense than whatever's going on with this. Because then we could believe like, oh, the elf has shown me different ways. Like they captured one of them and then she fell in love with him or whatever. And he's like, you know what? I've seen the light. I've seen elf puss and I've seen the light. And come to think of it, all of a sudden, I suddenly feel as though I'm not about this life. Now I have something to live for, and my whole tradition of dying for anything, just because we're made in record numbers anyway, it just doesn't feel like, I'd be leaving something behind now, rather than the orcs that just live to die. And I'm sorry, you cannot expect me to feel sorry for a race of things where they still do atrocities that they were not asked to do. When they're by themselves and not being commanded by anyone, they kill and violate and devour regardless regardless when nobody asked them to, and now we're supposed to feel sorry for them? They're the most racist things. They will go after other things that are not them, and now we must feel sorry. There is nothing that even led us to feeling sorry for them. There's nothing. You didn't build any connection with these things. Always seeing them or of them is killing and eating and destroying, and we're supposed to feel sorry for them. Why?
Adar! Nam kipakai, kinam shupak.
So he said, you told us that you loved us. And Adar says, I do, with all that is left of my heart. Too much let you become Sauron's slaves. And somehow, the orcs are like, you don't want us to become slaves? You're doing this so we can fight for our families so they don't become slaves? Nah, fam, I ain't about that life. Really, bitch? You have a family back home, and you know how dangerous Sauron is. I mean, you risked everything to kill him. And now you're upset because this guy who fought for you is on the battlefield with you, fighting so that you can free your family so your wife and your kids will not be slaves under Sauron. That means that as of right now, they are not slaves and they have their own thoughts or whatever, and you still chose to kill and do all those things before, but you don't have the mental capacity or intelligence to see forward and see that Sauron is going to enslave you regardless. Watch them turn on Adar and kill him. Then, of course, Galadriel has escaped and killed one of the orcs. Galadriel, they think that she's one of them, and apparently they can't smell her. I know she's wearing orc clothing, but really, aren't these the same things that were like...
What is it? What do you smell? Man flesh.
Okay, wait a second.
What is it? What do you smell? Man flesh.
They also could smell elves too in this show, but they've lost an ability as well. So Galadriel's spying and she sees that Adar is crying for one of the fallen orcs that we don't know anything about. And the only reason they know who Galadriel is because they saw her hair, which they comment on because she forgot to tuck it in. Meanwhile, this elf is just killing a bunch of orcs because he doesn't care.
Try to move against him now. The cost will be your life.
He can have it. He has taken everything else from me.
Oh, you mean that bitch that was killed off screen that nobody cared about and you barely had any chemistry with to begin with? Why would I care? You're such a nothing character. I mean, aside from him being handsome, there's nothing else of any depth with his characters. If he dies right now, I'm not even gonna shed one tear. I'm not even gonna consider doing that because he doesn't matter. Just like Nori and Poppy don't matter, this guy doesn't matter. Gandalf dude doesn't matter either. There's so many characters here that nobody cares about. I'm trying to think about one character I'd feel bad about if something happened to him. And so far, the only person I can think of is Durin. Something happens to him, I'd actually be really sad. I mean, not that sad. I wouldn't be like completely torn up like that, but I would be sad. So after Durin had given that whole pep talk about helping the elves and their friends, this guy's like, yeah, your father, he's not listening to us, and they're continuing to dig down there. Khazad-dûm might not be here when you return. Now Durin has to make a choice, save his friends or save his entire kingdom. We get more gaslighting from Sauron, and Celebrimbor is like, how could you do that to me if Morgoth did that to you? He's like, you must be a great deceiver if you can even deceive yourself. So Callow's like, you know what? I got the bright idea. I'm gonna take all these rings and leave. However, he can't get the handcuffs off, so he's like, I'm gonna cleave off my thumb. At least it's the left one. He goes out there, and of course, he's trying to make off with the rings while his thumb is bleeding. And once again, right after stepping outside, he gets blown to smithereens. Where is all that water coming from? The soldiers still believe that Antar is their lord, and they're like, look, you've hurt yourself. We're gonna put you back. And Galadriel's like, no, release him! And that's when all the soldiers find out what has happened because Galadriel tells him, look, I know how you feel. It's actually me. And the soldiers are standing behind there as they're hearing all of this. And they hear that Celebrimbor is the one who caused all of this because he was blinded of what Sauron was offering him. He knew all along that it must have been him.
I won't let you face him alone.
I built this city. My place is here. And he will not be alone.
What do they think they're gonna do? So he gives her the rings and goes to face Antar. Then I'm sorry, my husband and I were cracking up at this part because this elf who's stupid and nobody cares about, they're all like, it's up to you. A single arrow may turn you yet from the tide. It all depends on you now. So they're fighting their way through and they need her to take a shot of something. You see, Rings of Power suffers from this problem. The characters are so poorly written, so one-dimensional, that when something really bad happens to them, like death, danger, or some emotional moment, it just comes off as very laughable rather than tragic. You can't really blame the audience either, because there's just this big disconnect. Because you've made it so we don't care about these characters, where you'll put more work into the villain than the actual heroes. But we're not emotionally invested in these characters. They're all unlikable. There's no stakes. And the danger that they are susceptible to is quite inconsistent at times. And so they end up having the depth of essentially what a tablecloth is. Oh, it's pretty, it's surface level, but when you take it off, oh, look how shiny and nice that wood is. You completely forget about the tablecloth. You're like, I can always get a new tablecloth, but I really don't care. In this scene, when this random woman gets shot, it's so freaking funny. Oh my god, she's being heroic. It's the kind of moment where the writers clearly want us to be like, gasp. Isn't that sad, you guys? Do you feel the weight of the sacrifice? She's such a badass. She's such a hero. It just comes off as so unintentionally hilarious. Because first of all, we don't know this bitch's name. And if they did say it, I don't remember and I don't care. How are we supposed to care about someone when the show hasn't even bothered to properly introduce or develop them? So when a random character shows up and does something quote unquote noble and then they die, our reaction, understandably, is gonna be like, who was that again? It's not like we've been following this person all along. There's no reason to care about her. We're supposed to care about a background extra? She can't even act that well. I can't even say she's shallowly written because she's a nothing character. She literally is a nothing character. There's no payoff. There's just, oh, I'm getting shot. Then she's like, I'm gonna be brave and I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna take that shot. She's looking at her friends like, bitch, you could have gotten shot in the head before you took that shot. Why didn't you take the freaking shot? And so she's like, I'm gonna take the shot. And it lands in the kerosene thing and it blows up. And then she's just standing there seeing it, which gives Elrond and his friends an advantage. But she's standing there and they shoot her again. Bro, it's just so funny. Nobody cares about her. 2 seconds after that scene, I forgot her name. I didn't even know her name. Why am I lying? I mean, I'm playing Throne and Liberty, and there's a story in, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, so spoilers for Throne and Liberty, but there's this young guy named Henry who has to sacrifice his life for the children so they can get to the village, and he can save them from the wolves and save the rest of the people and the populace. Basically, the same scene happens where he has an anime moment, and he throws his torch into the kerosene vases and explodes all of the evil wolves and himself. With a short space of time that he was on screen, I felt more for this character and was more invested in him and wanting to save him and not wanting him to die and holding out hope that he would be okay somehow than I did from the entirety of the cast from Rings of Power. Celebrimbor then gets the bright idea to go with the guards to Anatar, and he rightly gets checked, and what did he think was gonna happen? So the guards kill themselves, Anatar makes them, and he's like, okay, you thought you were cute, what are you gonna do, bro? Are you okay? What are you doing? What did you think was going to happen coming in here like this?
Damn.
Oh man, I love Sauron. He is like the only character, aside from Dodorin, which has been nerfed and like stupefied, I'm rooting for Sauron. Kill them all. I don't care at this point. These characters need to be killed. They're just existing as body snatchers at this point. There's nothing in their brains. There's no soul in there. Just you're surrounded by all these freaking idiots. They're not adding anything to society or life. Kill them all. It doesn't matter. If they showed the ending of this being Anatar sitting on a throne of dead bodies of all the Rings of Power cast characters, I would not give a fuck. I would be like, that was actually pretty fire. Then a troll comes and, you know, the orcs are like, but they'll kill our own. So they show most of the orcs being killed by the troll, like we're supposed to care about them. Why do we care? The troll is supposed to be like this climatic thing, but as quickly as he comes in, as quickly as he dies. I don't even know what the point of him was because they killed him off so freaking quick. And old orc daddy over here is like, I'm not gonna fight anymore. I've got a wife at home. I'm too old for this. Adar is in the battle with you guys. So Elrond says the dwarves are coming, look. Nobody's coming. The guy's like, yeah, the dwarves turned back, bro. They're not coming out after all. And Elrond's just there in shock, saying he'll come. Durin will come.
Durin will come. Durin will come.
I'm coming!
I don't think he's coming. Not right now, anyway. Gil-galad is there, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna grow my sideburns back after this. And then we get the...
Check out my new shoes!
He's just doing way too much. Like, look, all that trajectory, I mean, they're tired, so whatever. Then he meets Adar, and he's like,
You took everything from me.
Okay, he didn't really say that, but let's be honest, that's what the scene was. And then Adar stabs him, and I'm just laughing because, you know, it's funny. Why is he not dead? They get into the walls, so the troll helped them, whatever. Meanwhile, he's like, Durin will come. He's coming. He's coming. My daddy's coming. He can't leave us like this. Betrayal. And Adar sees him. He's like, didn't you say something about holding a blade at my neck on the field, bro? Did you not say that to me? He doesn't even bother killing Elrond. He just takes the ring that he was carrying that Galadriel had given him and throws him back on the ground because, you know, convenience. Why would he not kill him? Don't know. Man, there were so many levels of dumb in this episode. This battle was weird. I don't know. Did they nerf the elves? Did the elves all of a sudden not know how to fight? Why did the orcs get the drop on them when they were so far into Eregion's territory? When Elrond didn't want to do what Adar expected of him, why was Adar nice enough to him to let him kiss Galadriel goodbye? Why were there so many people in that room supposedly watching this, not knowing what was going on and making sure that they weren't trading stuff with each other? Why did they film this scene to make it look as though this was some kind of payoff? All these orcs surround them and are watching, and not one of them caught what Elrond was doing. If we look back at this scene, we can clearly see that Elrond is putting something in her hand. And when you look back at the scene, look at all the orcs and Adar. Even if Adar is behind him, I would be very suspicious, but the orcs clearly are looking and none of them caught this, the movement of the hand. Why does Adar suddenly have all the honor in the world to respect not cutting down these guys before they leave, but yet he betrayed his lord?
We outnumber us 10-1. So why the confidence? And what is that?
Why are they speaking to each other in two different languages when the orcs are right there? Why would you be saying that the enemy is outnumbering you in English or in a language the orcs can understand?
Right now.
When is all of this happening when Durin was getting these people together? Did the king not hear him? Unless he already knows. Why didn't the orcs burn in direct sunlight like they used to? Why did Elrond have that ring with him in the first place? Why didn't the few elf archers in the walls of Eregion run out of arrows or get overwhelmed? You know, since there was barely enough of them in the first place. Why didn't Adar put Galadriel's head in a pike like he said he would? How did Elrond get out of this situation where the orcs were... Okay. Also, I just noticed this. Elrond gets super mad about his horse. I could have understood if this was Beric and Isildur because we've seen a relationship between them, but I've never seen the relationship between Elrond and his horse. It doesn't make any sense for him to have this reaction. I mean, it does make sense because I would be very heartbroken if that happened to my horsey, but in the realms of storytelling, this makes no sense. For him to be this unhinged that he would put an orc in a catapult or a trebby, whatever this thing is, and be like, die. And then he straps him to the thing and releases it straight towards the city into the walls. Why would you do that? You care more about your horse than the lives that are inside of the city. You didn't even know it was going to hit the wall. You thought... You didn't know anything. It could have gone over and hit a bunch of elven children that are still in that city. You fucking dumbass. You see why we can't like these characters? It's so bad it's comical. I mean, no, I know, Sauron is stupid too, but the reason why he seems more intelligent than everybody else is because they have an IQ of -25. So by comparison, he's a super mastermind. And he has more depth than all the other characters because, well, he's the only one that has motivation from revenge. I don't know what the finale is gonna look like, but good grief. Where is the money going? I can't even say at this point in time that I still like Rings of Power, but I do still like Sauron, so there's that. I want to see it through to the end. I don't know why, but I'm hoping he wins.
Damn.
I know that sounds evil, but I don't care because they've made the villain more likable than everybody else.
Give her those keys, you know, you get you know, the chance to escape by is an emotional heightened moment, but I too was shocked when I read that. Beginning in a lot in sort of like, what? Yeah.